Lena from the Fight Stalker Australia. I'm down in Canberra at the moment and I'm here with NRF member gym Muay U, and we've got Kieran Walsh here. So I'm just going to have a bit of a chat with Kieran about the gym here. You guys have been open for how long now?
End of the 4th week now, I think.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
And how are things going?
Yeah, good. Killing it. We're probably close to about 50 members already.
Oh, so, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's
good one.
Amazing, yeah.
Yeah, cool. And what's your reason for opening the gym, and what are you wanting to do with it?
I think it's mainly like Muay Thai is a sport that I love. Probably been involved in about 20 odd years, and it's just one of those things. I think you get to a certain point and everyone sort of trains and fights and coaches, and then you get to a point where you want to, I might do my own thing. So it pretty much came to that. I think it just went, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I may as well own it. So that was...
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And what's your history in Muay Thai?
So, coming on 20 years, I started out when I was probably about 9 or 10 years old under Anthony Manning at Phoenix. He then called it, what do you call it? It actually wasn't called Phoenix at the start.
Right.
It was called Planet Action
Right.
back in the day. So it was a long time ago. We used to be above this Chinese restaurant in a suburb called Dixon. It was just upstairs. There was wooden floors, super old school. And obviously for people who know Phoenix now, it's like so different. It's incredible. And he... So I pretty much trained with him, fought with him, went over to Thailand, did some of my own training. He brought some people out, learned sort of an incredible amount from him, not only from the coach and not only from the technique side of things, but the coaching and how to run a business and how to run classes. I think anyone that's been to Phoenix, you see it and you go, it's such a good model. It's such a good business model, and I think there's a reason they've got 500 or 600 members. So it was quite handy in that I get to take some of that and go, apply my own sort of spin to it. It was almost like, I think, a good word to explain. It's almost like an apprenticeship, like a university course. You learn to run such a structured school system, which he learned from the military and take away from it. And I think a lot of his members could probably go away, not a lot of his members, rather, a lot of his fighters could probably go and do the same thing.
Yeah, right. And did you start with Muay Thai as your first?
Yeah, it was, I think back then, especially in New South Wales, it was like this weird mix of like kickboxing and Mod Thai and Muay Thai, and it was just the real Muay Thai. You'd still look at Queensland and you'd see Evolution and stuff like that, and you go, that's Muay Thai, but you'd have to. We were in a state where you were still doing kickboxing, like 3-2s, wetsuit, shin guards, and I think I probably had my first 2 or 3 fights, like K1 and kickboxing. And then as the state developed and more people started to do Muay Thai, you got to do. Like then you got to clinch, then you got to knee, and then you eventually got to elbow, and it got to a good point, and so it's been pretty good to see that sort of
progression
grow.
Yeah, right. And what do you feel like the sport, it has grown in that time? What do you think are the good parts, or the parts that you think could be more improved?
I think the sport as a whole. I mean, there's probably a bit of it's like the black ages of Muay Thai where we went a little bit dark for a second there. So you had shows like Evolution, where Muay Thai was incredible and these big promotions and stuff. And then there was this bit of a gap where it didn't seem like there was much going on. New South Wales continued to develop, and you saw like this shift of Victoria going from like real kickboxing state, and you started to see it become Muay Thai. And I think the same things happen in New South Wales. Guys like Andrew Parnham, who's the MTA president, is really pushing hard to get that through.
He's doing a great job.
Queensland and WA have always been Queensland and WA, right? Like you look at guys like Fon Mardi, who used to run Thai boxing shows with Thais as main events back then, but it's more so our states on the eastern seaboard, this lower half it's grown quite well, but I don't know what caused that little black period. It felt like it maybe wasn't as big and in lights and stuff after Evo stopped. And it sort of went, oh shit, and I feel like it's building back up with promotions like Rebellion, but I think we need a little bit more. A little bit more oomph in it, exactly,
Yeah, right. And what's something that you think, fighters coming up now, what's something you think they should be concentrating on to help them, expand in the sport?
I think you just need to not, fighting, if you treat it like a sport, you don't need to, don't put yourself on a pedestal. And don't let your coaches put you on a pedestal. I think the biggest thing that ruins fight careers at the start is you're going to have 1 or 2 fights and you build it up to be this incredible thing. Like, I'm a fighter, this is huge, and then if you lose, you fall hard.
Yeah.
Because you've put yourself up here. But if you just keep fighting, keep training, keep going, it's perfect. Like you can just keep pushing through. Once you've had 10 plus fights, I think you're a fighter.
Yeah.
Before that, it's you know, I don't think you don't need to be. If you're under 10 fights and you're cutting 10 kilos the day before, like
it's crazy.
If I can swear, you're a fuckwit. It's not. You shouldn't. I don't think you should do that. That's crazy. It's nuts. You should just want to fight regularly, get better. Don't build it up. Just keep going.
Yeah, I like
you lose, but get back up and keep going. I think people stop in this sport. They get ruined because they have 2-3 fights, and when they fall hard.
Yeah.
And just.
Do you think some of that also has a bit to do with social media too?
Oh, incredibly so. Because a lot of your mates don't know the difference between good Muay Thai and bad Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Or something else. You know, it's the same reason with some of these complete dodgy sanctioning bodies which put on bullshit, you know, quote unquote Australian South Pacific world titles. Your mates don't know the difference between a WMC South Pacific title and I won't name names, but you know, another like your mates don't know the difference. Yeah. So that's huge. You could win this South Pacific title, like I'm amazing. And your mates think the same too.
My buddy's a world champion.
Yeah, my buddy's a world champion, but you were a world champion against a guy from a country like just across the ditch. Like, are you really the two best people in the world at that way? I don't think so. So I think social media, it does glorify it, and I think it's definitely crucial. But on the flip side of that, I think people's egos can probably get a bit too inflated with it.
Yeah, right. And can you give me a bit of an idea behind the name of Muay U?
So the U is short for university.
Yep.
The whole idea being, I think education is vital in the sport because there's a lot of stuff that goes on, and you can see when you go to fight shows or when you do see people on social media that there's just that bit of information missing. I think we're a sport where we're still developing to try and push into the mainstream, but we've got a lot of things holding us back. And I think fighters need to be better educated. Everything from, I wrote a content piece about like weight cutting and fighters having eating disorders because it's like people don't realise that, and I think that has to be pointed out to them.
If anyone's not seen that, where can they look at this?
So if you go on the website, muayu.com.au, and then if you go to the blog, it's got
the article's a really good read, so have a read of it.
Yeah, and so the university piece is basically around that. I think a lot of fighters don't end up, like some of them don't end up going to university. I didn't go to university, but education is crucial from everything from weight cut to understanding the sport, things like scoring, right? If we could all be on the same page, we wouldn't have such a problem. And it's just the university piece is just around that education.
I like that. That's really good. So can you tell me a little bit about your team?
So we've got about 5 or 6 fighters at the moment. Probably the most active one's Dan. He's about 17 or 18 fights, about 67, 68 kilos. And then mostly girls. Way tougher than boys. So just a mix of the girls, 1 pro and a couple of amateurs, but they're all getting to a point now where they're sort of starting to come through.
Cool. And with your fighters, like I know you guys always ask to fight full Thai rules. What's your thoughts around Muay Thai versus full Thai rules?
I just don't think Muay Thai should be a sport. I think it shouldn't be a thing, because I think the concept of a modified Thai rules title is just fucking ridiculous. I think if you should do the sport, I think you should do it as Muay Thai is intended, because it really does. It harms the sport and it also harms the development of an athlete. If you had a rugby player who played rugby for 5 years and then didn't learn to pass in that whole period, when they go 5 years later and they go, well, what the fuck, how do I throw a ball? It's the exact same thing with Muay Thai. I think if you want to fight K1, fine. Fight K1 on Muay Thai. Back in the day, there was, like, even when I was fighting some sort of 15 odd years ago, it made sense because there were so many kickboxers, so many people doing K1 that it's like, well, fair enough. It was super hard to get Muay Thai. Now that's not the case. You do not need. You don't need to fight, and so you're hurting the sport, and it's developmental as well. And I would not want. Like, why would you want to have why would you want to have a Mod Thai Commonwealth title?
Yeah.
It's kind of, to me, it's a bit of a joke. And I think you shouldn't, like, a proper sanctioning body has a class system in place.
Yeah.
You're not going to go, you have no head, like, your first fight, if you're worried about getting cut, that sanctioning body, maybe like the MTA has now, where they have elbow pads for the first few fights, then sweet.
Yeah.
Right, great. But you can still get kicked, you can still have a shin bone wrapped around your neck.
That's it, yeah.
Is an elbow really more dangerous than that?
That's it,
I think if you're a competent coach, you can teach your athletes to defend against anything.
Yeah.
If you're worried about them getting hurt from an elbow, I think that's maybe a reflection on you, not so much a reflection on the sport.
And what it should
like
be,
you teach them to do that. And I think if you just need to say Muay Thai. On your door as you walk into the gym, does it say this is a modified Thai boxing gym? or is it a Muay Thai gym? I just think if we can all get on that same page, because really when you look at it on the outset, it's not dangerous. It doesn't need to be dangerous.
Yeah.
You can get kicked
That's a good point. I was going to say, it's a good point what you've just said too. You can get punched in the head and get knocked out, and like you said, kicked as well. You know, what's the difference between an ankle bone hitting you to an elbow hitting you?
You get cut, right? Or you get elbowed.
Yeah.
This is much harder than this.
Yeah. And as you said, elbow pads. Then you're going to get cut, so yeah.
But it can cut heels. It's superficial.
Yeah.
I'd rather get cut than have a shin bone wrapped around my scalp and just be asleep, like snoring on the canvas. I just think we have to do Muay Thai nothing.
Yeah.
I don't think there should be. I think we just have to make it. I think everyone has to make a decision. Just do Muay Thai.
Yeah.
And I think trainers need to start saying no. I understand sometimes you just want to get the fights.
Yeah.
But I think if you push back hard enough, like, it'll happen.
Yeah.
Or maybe you have to go, well then no, we're not doing it. Because if everyone starts to do it,
that's right.
then those people who don't fight elbows will maybe go, oh shit, maybe we shouldn't. And if you're a coach and you're not that good at throwing elbows, well then go somewhere else.
Yep.
People continue to learn their whole life. Why can't you continue to learn the sport?
You know, Nathan Carney just doing those seminars, with his elbow striking system, it's perfect.
I think if you're a good coach, recognising weaknesses, I can sit here and say heaps of areas where I go, oh shit, I really need to learn more on that, and I'll try and find places to learn.
That's it.
If you're a coach and maybe you came up through a system that didn't teach elbows, like maybe you came from more traditional, like a kickboxing background, well then try and educate and learn and just develop like that. And then if we all sort of had this, and that's why it's Muay U, like educate, learn. We need to keep growing like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really like that. That's cool. Anyway, I know you've got a PT you've got to take now.
Holding the camera.
You may or may not be holding the camera and go, hurry up, Kieran. I want to train. So thank you so much for having me here. The gym looks awesome too. I really like it.
Thank you.
Really good.
Cheers.
So cool, check out Muay U, and I'll put some links on the video as well.
Cool.